No. These days, women know their worth. It's not that every woman thinks that she's a 10 out of 10. It's just that we don't base our value off of what a man thinks anymore. The only people that have a problem with that are insecure men who can't handle a woman who knows her worth. If you don't value a woman the same way they value themselves, that's okay. You're just not for her, bro. Just say you can't handle a bad bitch who knows her worth. Because if you could, you wouldn't be saying that. And in my opinion, there are ugly loser men everywhere. But everywhere I look, there is a beautiful, sophisticated, outgoing, hardworking. So you know what? If you're a woman and you're watching this, you should feel like a 10 out of 10. Because compared to some of these bozo men out there, we definitely are.
Sister, in the dribble of a rant, you missed the key question you boss babe queens never seem to understand. Must be answered. Why should any man have to handle you? I mean, hype yourself up all you want. All the power to you. But it's all locked inside that dome of yours. I am sure many women have heard men say females create an awesome movie, produced, directed, and starred by them in their heads. Unfortunately, that does not translate well into the real world. Sorry, sister. Just because you believe you have a high SMV does not make it real. Queen. The only 10 out of 10 you actually are would be the 10 layers of makeup plastered on your face. Now, I'm not blind to the ample amount of chumps and imps out there more than ready to agree with this young Asian Barbie, all in a attempt to believe it's going to score them some possible bedroom access one day.
Pathetic.
But the rest of the men who can actually get action are for the most part self-respecting. They simply look at this gem of an XX chromosome catch and decide they will pass. It's not worth the headache dealing with this. Queen. Oh, that's right. According to women like her, that would make him a loser. Yeah, she's a prize I am sure men who value peace would gladly miss out on.
How dare you?
Moving on.
This right here is the equivalent of a middle school bully telling people that they're ugly, when in reality, it's the bully who feels bad about himself. I am a dating coach to help men, but I am not afraid to call things out as they really are. And knocking women down a peg or two is not going to help you succeed in your dating life whatsoever. Let's just be real. Trying to make women feel lesser than about their appearance and straight up being a jerk is not the way to go. And I'm not just saying that because I am a woman. Let's say that I told men they were actually 3s and 4s when they thought they were 10s. That would be mean. That would be rude. So that's what we're not going to do. We're not going to be a jerk.
Actually, I'm not going to say knocking someone down a peg or two isn't effective in dating. I mean, ladies, do I really need to say the reason why?
How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
Well, it's obvious why it works, because women do it to men all the time. I'm sorry, ladies, but that is basically shaming language 101, and you women are the masters of it. I just find it funny how some of you have this huge issue with it when men use your same tactics. Another thing is being upfront with a woman and letting her know she isn't a 10 isn't chopping someone down. It's more like taking a vampire out into the sunlight. Yeah, the fantasy superpowers burn away with reality. And for this dating coach to say it would be mean to tell men they are 3s and 4s, well, sister, that is a man's everyday dating reality. Women have zero problems telling a man he is ugly, doesn't make enough money, he is overweight, he is balding, he isn't tall enough, or any other deficiency they can think of. Hey, a 5-star dating coach would have known this already. Don't get me wrong, as I believe men shouldn't waste their energy insulting women at all. But I do understand sometimes a woman needs to be given a reality check.
Hey, buddy, let me clue you in.
Moving on.
What? If a man ever tells you you are too good for him, believe it.
You might want to run if a man tells you that you are too good for him. This is not flattery. This is foreshadow that he is most likely insecure and is going to self-sabotage the relationship in the future. At best, he is letting you know and being honest that he is going to disappoint you. And at worst, he is using this as a manipulation tactic to try to get you to consistently prove that you care about him without expecting his reciprocation because, hey, he already said that you are too good for him. Believe men when they tell on themselves, especially if they are saying anything along the lines of you two not being compatible for each other. There is absolutely no amount of validation in this world that you can give a man who cannot see his own value. And if you put that upon yourself, you are most likely going to just end up feeling like you are walking on eggshells around this person. Do not sell yourself short. Choose someone who can both recognize how great you are and want to put in the work and effort to be the person you deserve.
She is right for the most part, actually. I say most part because she is talking about one side of the coin. I'm just going to add on to that with a few more points she either missed or just doesn't understand. A chump who says a woman is too good for him is either slobbering over Chad/Tyrone's sloppy seconds or some guy who wants to break up with you and is trying to soften the blow. I will venture more on the former than the latter. Anyway, another point she probably couldn't see was the mental indoctrination of men who say this.
What? What are you talking about?
Okay, let me explain a bit better. Women are attracted to men who show powerful masculine traits. Women like men who are confident, stoic, take initiative, and are a rock women can latch themselves onto. And regardless of how many gender studies degrees you may have, those traits are deep-rooted in men with traditional values and mindsets. On the flip side, men who claim women are too good for them are none of the above. Sorry, sister, but that kind of talk usually comes from those dainty XY chromosome oppression movement talk allies who keep their tennis balls in your purse. Regardless of what your college professor, Miss Les Bull, has told you, these soy latte men realistically leave you drier than the Mojave Desert. Hey, you can't fight the biological urges that turn you into wetlands, now can ya?
No.
Moving on.
I agree with this, and all my friends say it, that guys just don't approach anymore. Like in the past, maybe a guy would approach and come up to them, ask for the number. Once in a while it happens for me, but of course, like not as much as previously. And obviously, a guy can literally open up his Instagram app, search up girls in the city that he's in, go like a bunch of their photos on each of their pages. So you go on like 20 really pretty girls' pages, and then eventually one might follow back or like some photos back. And that is a hell of a lot easier for a guy and way less amount of rejection than to go up to a girl on the street. But if a guy is coming up to you on the street, and even if you're not interested in him, thank him and be kind, because it does take a lot of nerve to go up to someone and do that. And I do believe that real men still approach.
Wait a minute here. She closed out with real men still approach? Methinks this Cowain sounds like she is missing the attention of real life cold approach. I am starting to notice a pattern in some of these female rant videos. Now, if I am reaching in what I'm about to say, by all means, correct me in the comments. I am gorilla enough to accept when I am proven wrong. Now, hear me out. Could it be possible that maybe, just maybe, some of these women, specifically the more attractive ones, are getting their fifis and egos bruised when men don't approach them in real life?
Liar! Liar! Liar!
I mean, let's give it some thought. When social media came on the scene, these ladies thought it was the best invention since sliced bread. All the long-distance attention drove their sense of entitlement to the stratosphere. Boom. Post a pic and watch the likes pile up. Then, fewer and fewer men did cold approach. A certain believe all XX chromosome movement threw more fuel on that fire. Now, in the dating wild, these women feel like they are being avoided like if they had scabies. Well, that's what happens when you make it clear that any man who approaches you that isn't Chad/Tyrone is going to be labeled a creep. But hey, you still are going to get those invites from men of a rich nation wanting to fly you out to partake in pee and poop fetishism, right? Moving on.
Most men benefit from marriage.
I remember when I reached a point in my marriage, I am now divorced, where I was like, wow, my husband benefits so much from having me in his life. Like, literally, I handled the finances. Whenever we traveled, I did all the travel arrangements. I did all the planning. I did all of the grocery shopping. I didn't really do the cooking, but I did pretty much all of the cleaning. And I did any type of like social organization, or, you know, if one of the people in our family like had a birthday, like I would shop for it. If we were going to a holiday at, you know, his family's house, I would make sure that we were bringing something. Like, I did everything for this man. And there came a point in my marriage where I was like, wow, this man benefits so much from marriage, but what do I benefit from? And when I stepped back and I really looked at that, I was like, I am not benefiting very much from this marriage. And so I started to ask him for more. And that's when I realized how replaceable women are, because instead of him wanting to do the work and actually like work to help the marriage move forward and for us to both be equal partners. There was a lot of resistance where he was like I think I could feel, and this is my projection, that he was like, why don't I just go, find someone.
Wait a minute. Out of the gate, she admitted her husband not only paid for most things, he also cooked, and she claims he was the one benefiting the most from the marriage? Yes, ladies, the moment she said she coordinated the finances and vacations without saying she paid for it is the moment we all understood. Clearly, she basically said she knew how to spend his money. All she did after that was clean, and she claims he was the one getting the deal.
Ho, ho! Fiction can be fun.
Here's a hint. If she admitted she was easily replaceable, that in itself says who is benefiting the most. It's like the rubber of a tire telling a Mazda RX-8 it benefited the most when they were on the road together. You were made a tire and traveled where the car took you. You could have easily ended up as a used condom flushed down after a pump and dump. You're rubber after all. Not that I'm saying that women are rubber, just making a quick comparison of who actually benefited from whom. Anyway, she is divorced now. But let's call this what it is. A video sounding like she is trying to justify her divorce as if she were the prize.
Squeeze me? Oh, no, you did.
Or I think because he was so religious, for him it wasn't, why don't I go find someone? It was like, wow, I should have picked someone who was just asked less of me. And eventually he did step up a bit and really helped with other things. But again, it was him helping me. It wasn't him doing it. It was always me being like, here's what needs to be done. Can you please do it? And he'll be like, tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. And, he would, to his credit, do it. But that was still the emotional labor that I had to do of telling him what needed to be done. And then I remember after we were getting divorced and I was thinking like, wow, I'm still replaceable because he didn't really care about me as a person, but the role that I filled was what the men cared about. And I watched couples around us get divorced and I watched the man move on before one man, he moved on before his wife had even moved out of their home. And I was like, yeah, it's because men don't really see women as human. They see us as like, what are you benefiting us? And as soon as you stop benefiting us, well, we'll just go find someone who will offer us everything that we need and who won't complain.
You can't make this up. He actually did what she asked of him, and she still found a way to complain about it. This is what happens when you base all decisions on feelings. What did she want? For him to thank her for adding to his workload too? I swear that sometimes these Western queens just don't know how good they have it. Oh, it's such a blow to her ego that the man who was bending over backwards for her just had enough and moved on quickly. And the key thing she missed was, yes, men will go with someone who doesn't complain. Ladies, do you actually think your nagging and constant complaining makes you desirable as a wife? Heck, admitting she was constantly fussing is what drove him to move on quicker. Should have been a clue to her. Kind of like smoke to a fire, princess. Any man worth his salt is going to decide his mental peace is more important than your taco with a practical 24/7 HR rep attachment.
We decide our fates, not you.
So it wasn't about seeing us for our humanity and like loving me and us as the people. It was like, yeah, women are a renewable resource because we're a man, we'll just go get another one. And I remember just feeling so heartbroken because I had loved this man since I was 21 years old. I was so in love with my husband. Like I would have done anything. I did do anything for him. But for him to look at me and not feel that same way, that was such a hard lesson to learn because I was, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, thinking about men, crazy. But it was just such a painful lesson to learn because for me, it was my entire world. He was my entire world and I loved him and I adored him and I talked, about him to the people that I loved. And for him, it was just kind of like, you're filling this role that I needed in my life in order to like be, a whole human being and a man. And that's a really hard place to be.
No, she didn't do anything and everything for him out of love. If that were true, she would have put a muzzle on the nagging, and she would have set her fifis to the side in order to make the marriage work, assuming he was also doing his part. All this divorce queen has said so far is me, and I feel I was more valuable. I am sorry, ladies. I have to say, in this entire video, all that we have seen is him being the higher value in the relationship, how little she contributed, but wants it to be recognized as more than what it actually was, and how she dislikes the fact that she was replaceable, but didn't want him to be seen as the prize. This is why men always tell women to live in reality. This queen could yell all day she is a 10, but at the end of the day, she was far easier to replace than he was. Kind of like a car. There's always a dealer out there selling a newer model to those who can afford it. I'm just saying, if you enjoy this audit, click on the video in the end screen for more content. If you would like to support the channel, please follow the link in the description to donate to our beer fund, or like, subscribe, and share this video on other social media platforms. If you agree or disagree with anything about this audit, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to leave this audit right here. I'll see all of you in the next episode.